Okay, today on the workbench we're going to be dealing with this. This is a boiling vessel made by a UK company called Bivy Scientific. This is the RAK or RAK 15/4 24 volt model. I have an earlier version of one of these that was used in Centurion tanks. This one's a little bit kinder on the current, only pulls about 15 amps instead of the 30 that the other one does. In any case, one thing we do want to do, this does need a new thermal fuse. I have to find one at some point. I've done a bypass in the meantime. It did boil dry once, and they've got a one-shot fuse in them. What I do want to do is investigate this spigot here, disassemble and clean that up, because that certainly needs a bit of servicing. So we're going to see how easy that is to pull apart and see if we can clean it. Now, this camera angle may be a little difficult. We're going to take a flat blade screwdriver here. I'm going to at least loosen and remove the two flat blade screws that exist in the top here, probably with a smaller screwdriver so I can actually get it around the corners here. And once that's off, we'll look at this nylock nut there. Okay, so first interesting bit of fact, these two screws are captive. You remove this, it removes the entire valve assembly. That's very nice, and we've had a spider living in there. I can probably put a little bit of plumber's grease on that. Now this is the bit that I'd like to clean up. This does actually make it very easy to get to. I should be able to clean this spigot up now without actually having to take it off the unit, which would be very nice. Okay, so some time ago I did notice a funny black Aussie drive screw loose in the back of my ambulance somewhere, and I think I know where it came from. And this one is also a little loose, so I'll give these guys a little bit of a tighten up while I'm here. Yeah, I am actually interested, while I've got this down, to take this off and see if I can access the fuse under there, because it's a little bit difficult to get through just taking this off. But I'd have to remove these two, and I don't think I'm quite willing to do that just yet. But I think that'll be a video for another time. Okay, so I've taken some sandpaper, made some little strips. I've given the spigot a bit of a clean up. Calcification was mostly on the outside, which is okay. I'm thinking probably what I'll do at some point is get a piece of silicone tube and like squeeze it over that so that the hot water comes out a little bit further down. Makes it a bit easier than this being a bit close to the unit. Now what I want to do is disassemble this. I want to put a bit of plumber's grease, which is like silicone grease like this, around that O-ring. But also this assembly that you use to pull out is a little bit difficult to deal with. So I think I'm going to take that off. I'm going to apply some silicone grease to these. Partly because I don't know what type of plastic this is. Using light oil like sewing machine oil on here could be potentially get into the water flow as well. So we might just clean all this up, and I'll give this a bit of a clean up under here as well. Alright, if you're wondering why there's a slot in the end here, I'm going to hold this nut this way, because if you just try and undo the nut, the whole assembly moves. So you get a screwdriver in here and you can turn the whole thing. This requires something of dexterity I can't get on camera, so I'll do this off camera. Alright, we've got this nut loose. We're going to hold it together, because this is the point, is if you don't hold it together, the spring shoots things off like the return spring out of an F88. Never to be found again in the Aussie bush. Alright, here's our components, and I put a little bit of cleaner on them, so I'll dry them off in a minute, and we'll apply some silicone grease. One of the reasons I'm specifically doing the plumber's grease here, or the tap grease on this O-ring, is it tends to stop O-rings degrading, or at least it slows down the inevitable, which is really important when you've got hot water in the back of your vehicle. I'm going to just make sure we haven't got too much on there, just a little bit. Then we're going to put a little bit on the shafts of all of these as well to help them slide up and down that plastic. Okay, now we're going to put all this back together, which I believe goes in that way. Spring goes on here. This goes through the back, I think. And then we have to sandwich these two in the middle. And then we have a washer, it goes on the top, and then this goes in here, which if I had a really nice thin flat blade, that would fit in the slots that are in that. But I think it's designed for like a snake eyes tool or something. Anyway, we'll get this back on and we should be able to reassemble. Okay, we have it reassembled. I've taken the nylock to being flush with the top of that bolt. Traditionally, when you take a nylock off, you should put a brand new one on, but this is not suspension bushes. I think we'll be alright. Also, this is moving nice and smoothly now, not binding up like it was before, so I think we'll be able to reattach this. Alright, tissue box for a camera mount. Should be able to drop that back in. And we need one of these screwdrivers. And this needs to go on a few turns left and a few turns right to keep things properly aligned. We can't just do one all the way up. I guess you could if you put enough downforce on it, but I like to be gentle with stuff. There we go. We'll put this back in service shortly and we will test the throughput of this valve. There we go, that's feeling firm. Anytime plastic's involved, don't over tighten stuff. Go till it's firm and it stops, and then don't go too nuts, like right there. There we go, that's stopped. Alright, this feels a little loose, probably because I haven't done that nylock nut up enough, so we'll do that up a little bit more. And of course, now we're finding out why there's that little notch in the end, is we can't tighten this. So I'm going to have to pull that off again, tighten it up a little bit, and come back to this point. Okay, we're on, and this does have significant spring power, but it moves out quite more smoothly now. It's difficult to demonstrate unless it's bolted down and you've got two fingers in these slots, but we'll do that in a moment. Either way, it's in, and yeah, this actually has a natural stop. I wound it up till it hit the stop, and that's about perfect. It doesn't wobble anymore. Let's go put it back in service after we tighten up these bolts. Alright, let's go out to the 6-wheel drive Land Rover, formerly an ambulance. Put this back in its rightful place. Yeah. We have a special little spot for it right here. Things have been put in there. Now this lives right up here. Okay. Now there is a that's been tangled in there. This is a Canon plug. You can buy these. I need to find a right angle plug one. I just haven't had the money for one. And I put a little bit of electrical cleaner lube on it. It slides on very nicely. That's one thing you definitely need with these plugs, is a little tiny bit of electrical lubricant. Makes them way easier to fit. Now let's find some water, put in here, and check that that valve actually works. Okay, fill this thing about half full. Alright, firstly we want to see it does heat. See if this works. Oh, that's much easier to use. And yeah, actually, that's actually way better. Flow rate's a little bit better too. It was always a bit of a problem with the flow rate, so I'm happy with that. Alright, I think we're good. There aren't too many videos about these. Not a lot of people have got them in the civilian world. I have been contacted by some people that work for the company through the YouTube comments over the past, and they've been really helpful. But these are actually a really bomb-proof way of having hot water. If you've got the extra power budget in your vehicle to handle it, certainly something I would recommend getting. The older ones that you can pick up, they were the FV4, they were an FV something. I'm forgetting the full part number. They're very power hungry, so unless you've got the Centurion tank engine running a massive alternator, probably not a great idea. I do have a 100 amp secondary alternator that weighs about 50 kilos in this thing that can handle the 24 volts. No worries at all. But anyway, yes, don't worry about the connector here. I did have to do a test point on it the other day, and I took a little bit of that out. I do need to rewire the plug, and I'm going to try and get a right angle one and get it to hang down here out of the way at some point. Anyway, we'll catch you in the next video. Hope it was an interesting but short one, and we'll catch up with some more stuff soon enough.